Good morning, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations. And when I say morning, it is 5:30 in the morning. I could not sleep, so I've been up since 3. Figured I'd go ahead and we'll start working on one of our quilt block of the months. Today I'm going to do the Murder at, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm going to just show it to you. I'm not sure if you guys know how to pronounce it. At least somebody does. This is the 2019 Murder Mystery. And I'm not going to read it to you, but every month I'll give you an idea of what the chapter is. So I'm not quite sure how, I mean, they want you to guess who was the person that, I'm going to guess the person who murdered whoever. But I read a lot of different books, and I could not get into this book. And this is just chapter 1. Usually I get grabbed by a book within the first 2 chapters, otherwise I don't bother to read it. So had I picked this off of a shelf and just browsed through it, the first couple of pages or so, I wouldn't even have bothered to read this book. This is just my opinion. It's nothing, no reflection on this book. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm going to tell you where the book grabbed me, and hopefully it'll keep me. So our heroine, her name is Kitty. She's with a group of people. They're going, I want to say, like on a conference in Hawaii. Anyway, we get to the point where she's already settled in and everything, and they went and had a, I'm going to guess you call it a luau when they, and like, I mean, I don't know much about it. I've never been to Hawaii, so I don't know the setting, so it gives you some background and everything. And I do know, based on, sorry about this, but TV programs like Magnum PI, where, I mean, I watch that show. You don't really know how much is true and how much they've added to it to make it sound good. I mean, I can't believe that it's total fact of everything that was on that show. But anyway, they have pig roast, that kind of thing. And at this pig roast, this is what got me. At the very tail end of the story, when they pulled the pig out of the pit, okay, I understand, I mean, I think that every time they have one of these, they dig a pit and then they cook the pig in it. I don't know if they reuse the pit or not. I'm just going with what I believe. And this is all my interpretation of this story now. In this chapter, what grabbed me is that after the pig was lifted out of the pit, there's another lady that's at the conference, and she looked down in there and she said, "Is that another pig?" And so that's when Kitty shook her head and she goes, "Pigs don't have fingers." Now that's not word for word. That's me ad-libbing what she said. Anyway, that's when now, to me, the story got interesting, and that's the telling of the story for the month. So, and just by reading what I've got, I have no suspects for anything, because nobody, to me, seems suspicious at this point. But anyway, let me take you over the sewing machine, and we are going to begin building this quilt. It's a block of a month, and every block, when you put all your pieces together, I guess it's giving you the layout of the land, so to speak. I don't know. This is my first mystery. If you guys have been into all this, maybe y'all can make a comment or whatever. We're going to go ahead and get started. I've got it cut out because, you know, I can't give you any sizes or anything. And it's just basic taking your fabric and cutting to certain sizes. That's all there is to it. And you already seen my pick of fabric over there on my Facebook page, my Instagram. I put it on there. So let's go ahead to the sewing machine and we'll put it together, and then we'll see what we got. Okay? Here's what the beginning of my fabric looks like. This blue is going to be my background, which I think is going to represent the sky, the water. I'm not quite sure because I don't know how being pieced. The green is going to be, they said it was leaves and it was branches. And then these other 2 colors are going to make up whatever it makes. I don't know if it's the background of, I'm going to guess, could be flowers, buildings, whatever, you know. But this is what you start out with. It just looks like this. And now I'm going to cut it further on down. I just want to give you an idea what the very beginning pieces that you cut out are. So for those that are following along and they're doing this mystery, take your big squares, your blue and your pink, put your right sides together. I went ahead and I pinned them on 4 sides because what we're going to do is we're going to spray starch these. That's what the directions say. Before we sew them, we're going to sew 1/4 inch. And if you haven't done this before, this is why I'm pinning it, to show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start here on the edge, and Now keep in mind, I'm not doing the 1/4 of an inch. I'm just doing the side of my foot. You'll see in a minute. So I don't even need to mark it. If you want to mark it, go ahead and mark in a 1/4 of an inch with your pen and mark it all the way around, all 4 sides on both. Then on these little smaller pieces that you have, you'll know what size they are. I have a blue one and a green one. Put the right sides together, just like this. And I only pinned it on this side and this side. But they also need to be spray starched. Okay? Because you want them a little bit stiff. I'm just using this right here. That's the spray starch I'm using. I got it at Walmart. I've already shook the dickens out of it. So just take it, spray it, spray it, spray it like that. That's it. Doesn't need to be saturated or anything. Now my pins, these little pins right here, they're glass head, so they are not going to melt as I iron it. Looks like my blue, it looks like my blue is a little bit bigger, but that's okay. All I'm doing, let me back up a little bit here. Got this camera. The phone's in my left hand, the iron's in my right hand. The steam's just doing that automatically because I have it on steam. So you're just making it stiff because we're going to make half square triangles. Back it up a little bit here. So when you get done doing that, you're going to take it over to the sewing machine and we're going to sew it. All right, I took off 2 of my pins. I'm going to just have the 2. And like I said, I'm going right on the edge of my foot here. And as you notice, I did get my machine back. I took it down to a baby lock dealer down in Ellicott City. They did a wonderful job servicing it. I had to have 2 parts replaced. It ran under $30 to get it done. Then I took my 2 other machines in, my granddaughter's that I bought her. I bought her a Tempo, and then I have a machine I bought for classes only, which is the Melanie. And if you know anything about the baby lock machines, they have different websites. On the Melanie, it actually has, believe it or not, it's the first machine I know of, and I didn't know it when I bought the machine. I just found out about it after the fact. But it has its own setting for a 1/4 inch, so you don't have to worry about it. You put your main foot on it, just like this, and you choose for, they have a little card about this big that goes on the top part of your machine, gives you all the different stitches and everything, and you choose number 21, and that automatically is a 1/4 inch from the edge. So you don't have to put your, your tape or whatever on the side. My daughter took a class. I loaned it to her so she could take a bag making class based on a pattern. And of course, I told her she needs to take, do a course for herself. So that's what she did. She went so that she could learn from somebody else other than me. First thing she said when she came home was, wow, was the person different? I said, yep, everybody's going to be different. And then the second one was that, and she didn't tell them in class, so she acted like she'd never done anything, like a very beginner sewer. But anyway, she said that she's never done anything by a pattern. Now note that because I used the bigger size, I wanted to use the fabric that was the biggest. You can see it here on, it doesn't have a 1/4 of an inch. That's probably about an 1/8. Let me see if that's an 1/8 or not. Hold on one second if I can. Oh, if I can get my ruler out. Okay, let's check it out here. That is a little bit more than an 1/8, but about an 1/8. Here's the 1/4 mark. There's the 1/8. So it's a little bit more. So that's fine. But anyway, she said that she didn't like having to make something with a pattern, that because when I was teaching her, we didn't use any patterns to make anything. I just winged it and made it up. So that's how we made all of our little bags and everything. We just did based on whatever we wanted to put in it. But anywho, she said that she doesn't like patterns. She doesn't want to have to, she felt like it was a lot of unnecessary steps is what she said. Because they had to iron their pattern after they took it out of the package. Then they had to turn around. Let me make it so that my foot goes up. Oops, wrong one. There we go. They had to turn around, they cut the pattern out. Then they had to go and put their fabric on it and pin it and all that. And she just didn't like it. She felt like it took too long. It was an all-day class. And I think it was reasonably priced. All she had to do was buy the pattern. I had everything else that she could take to class. She didn't have to buy anything special. And she more or less, well, she said she enjoyed it. She wasn't crazy about the teacher, but you know, that's just your own preference. If you're used to one thing and then you gotta have change, you know, sometimes you just don't like it. Certain things she didn't care for what the woman said and all that kind of stuff, and she just wanted to get in and sit down. Whoops, I went too far, so I got to back it up one stitch here. Let's see if I can back it up. Now I got to do it too because the darn thing. All right, let's see. Yeah, then it went too many. Let's see, get a one stitch. There we go. Anyway, she said that she just wanted to go in, sit down, and cut it out and start sewing, but that's not how it worked. But she did get the bag color she wanted. She got a red, and it turned out really, really nice. She was scared. Whoops. Let me see, did I go too far? I did. I came up too far. All right, let me fix that. Anyway, she said she was scared midway through it, so she calls me at about, 2 o'clock, and I think the class was till 3:30, I believe. And she called up. She goes, "There's no way I'm going to get this bag done, and this is going to be exactly like it was before when I took some kind of class of, I think it was a Build-A-Bear or something she took." She goes, "And I went home, and it never got done, and it's still not done. It's still sitting at home, not done." And I went, "Just give it a minute, relax, quit trying to." Well, that's just about. I said, "Don't worry about it. Go back into the class and have fun." Go ahead and finish your other one, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to cut them apart. Okay, I'm going to try to make sure I get back far enough because, you know, I always end up chopping something off at this time. Let's see here. All right, so let me keep it out in this one spot. We can see it. All right, so what you're looking at, and you can mark it, we're going to cut it. I'm looking at the corner right here. Can you see that? I'm looking at the corner right here where I sewed, right here. Don't look at the fabric corner now. Go to the corner of where you've sewn. Each corner, you want to go draw a line. Take your ruler, put it up against there, and draw it from corner to corner. All right, let me set this up so you can see it. See if I can get closer without losing you here. Okay. So I got my pin in the corner here. I'm going to go over my corner. Same here. Going right over that corner. Just like that. Take your rotary cutter. I'm using my new one that I just got. Hopefully it's sharp. Ooh, it is sharp. Okay. And it'd probably be better if I had my rotating mat. So I'm just going to put them back together. Mark it again right here. Whoops, see, it's split. As long as I got my corners together, I guess I'm all right. Guess better mark it before we cut it next time around, shall we? Get it started here. I can see what I'm doing. There we go. So don't do what I just did. Keep it together. I'll show you next time around. Alright, then you got 4 of them. So let's do the next one here. Over. I need a teeny weeny little rotating mat's what I need. Alright, I'll get my mat over here. Hold on. Okay, so this mat is 12 by 12, so it's not very big. And it'll rotate, I hope. We'll see here in a second, as soon as of course my fabric moved anyway. There we go. I think the littler are harder to cut than the big ones anyway. Okay. Well, it's got a lot of give in it too. I didn't make a very dark mark on there. Doesn't usually move, so I don't know why it's moving today. But it's staying put enough. And of course, now that I drew the line, you don't really need, if you don't want to, since you drew the line, which I did, you can actually just follow your line right off of there. Do the same with this one. Since it's got the line on there. There's those 4. There we go. All right, so now we have these. Take them over to the ironing board, open them up, and then we'll get to sewing the rest of it. Now that they're all ironed, they want you to take the larger, and this needs to be your, you're going to square it up. Remember how you square. You take your ruler, and this is the way that I square. Take your 45-degree angle here, put it down the line, and my 3 would be this. But what I want to do is I want to take a little bit off of each side to make sure it's perfectly square. So what I do is I move it up, get the angle on there, give it a lot of pressure, and then I go like that and across the top. Make sure your fingers are not over this ruler. You don't want to be cutting your fingers by accident when you're using these teeny weeny little things. My hand had been like that and I kept slicing. I just sliced my finger. Then rotate this, line it back up, and put a lot of pressure on it. Make sure your blade is nice and sharp. There you go. So do each one of your little squares. Let me get it down here in the picture. Do the same thing. Cut a smidgen off first. Make sure it's on the line. Here. And just take your time. Remember. All right. So go ahead and cut all them out. After you've done all that, you should have 8 of each of those half square triangles. Now we're going to build our next block. You're going to take your half square triangles of BG1, which is this one right here, AC4, which is this here, and you're going to put the square that you have picked out, whatever fabric you picked out, you're going to put it on the top left of the AC4, and then you're going to take the solid color of whatever this background color that you've used, which is going to be the same, should be the same color as this here. And you're going to put it on the right hand side, and we're going to sew those together, and we're going to make 4 units just like that. And then we'll chain stitch this. We're just going to do one after the other. Chain stitch and ignore, then sewing this one first, and then putting this right up against it and sewing it next. Snips, snip that off. You have one that looks like that, or this. Make sure you're in the camera here. You should have one. I'm going to call this the cloud. I don't know what to call it, or the background. So you have a background, and then you have, I have pink, then I have a background. That's going to go on the bottom. I have a purple, a pink, and a background. I'm going to go iron these so that I can attach these together. Now remember that when you iron them, you're ironing so that the seam goes, not the seam, I'm sorry. The fabric goes one direction on one and the other direction on the other so that you can nestle these two together. Because these are meeting in the middle. And that's where I'm putting my pin, right there where they nestle. I'm going to put my pin on the left-hand side because that's the piece that's going to come up through the sewing machine. This piece here, and you know me, I got to pin everything, so. And if you want to use clips, that's fine, you can use clips. Then when it gets finished, if you're following along, your piece is going to look like this. Now we're going to make 4 of those. So go ahead and make 4 of those and then come back. When you get done sewing all those together and iron them, then you'll have 4 of them that look exactly like that. And I just now see that I did this one wrong. So I have to redo that one. They should all look like this. Now they're all correct. So let's keep going. Now the directions say to take this strip, which is called BG2, and connect it to BG1. Make sure that the green or the same color, whatever you're using, goes together. All right, so let's sew all 4. And make sure you put this little square together correctly, because if you don't, the direction of that blue fabric will be incorrect. I'm going to cut them all apart and I'm going to iron them open. So we can take a look at them. The blue should be going on the top part. When you lay your long strip on the left, your green is on the bottom right, and the blue is at the top. You're going to take this green strip that you just made, and you're going to connect it on the left-hand side of your first block that we put with the 4 together. So sew all of them on together. I'm going to get them pinned here. Take your last square, and you're going to join it to the side of this leaf here. Alright, let's pin all those together. You want to go ahead, you want to chain stitch all these. I'll get you started on this one here. Then I'll finish them up. I really didn't put a pin in here because I was just going to use that one when I pulled it out. There you go. And just follow on down and do them all. Then we'll be right back to put them all together. On these unit D's, now that they're done, I don't know if this is right side up or wrong side up, doesn't make any difference. You're going to take the 2 with the green and you're going to sew them together. And you're going to make 2 of them because now you have 4 unit D's. So let me get that pinned together. We're going to put these 2 strips together. We can chain stitch them also. There we go. Let's clip this right here. Now we need to iron these 2 pieces. There is the finished 2 squares for the 2019 Murder Mystery Quilt. I hope you guys liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.